In 2012, you saw President Obama stand in front of some pipelines in Cushing, Oklahoma, to talk about how much he supported energy independence. And now, in this election already, you're seeing Hillary Clinton and other Democratic candidates trying to be even more to the left than Obama on climate and energy issues. Now, of course, we're in the primary season, so you're going to see that from the Democratic side. But I think compared to 2012, you will see climate be a bigger role in this election than you did in 2012. Now, will it be a top-tier issue? Probably not, because it's never been, and I don't think it will catapult quite that high that quickly. But I do think it will be something that Democratic candidates want to talk about, most of them anyway. And then on the Republican side, most of them are not wanting to talk about the issue still, though you're not seeing as much outright denial of the science as I think you saw in the 2010, 12, and 14 elections.
Depending on who the Republican nominee is, there could be a very big difference between the Republican and the Democrat when it comes to climate change, which I don't think we really quite saw as much in 2008 and 2012. John McCain had sponsored climate legislation. Mitt Romney had done some fairly progressive things on climate in Massachusetts when he was governor. So even if McCain or Romney didn't really talk up climate change or make big proposals on what they would do, they weren't climate deniers. And then if you look at the Republican sort of range of candidates right now, you've got a number who are sort of outright say it's not happening, it's not human caused, and you've got a few who are a little bit more moderate on it. So I think that juxtaposition depends on who that candidate is on the Republican side. The other thing I would say is I think we saw, maybe not in 2012, but in 2014 it became much more of an issue that candidates were being asked about in Senate races and in governor's races. And I think either being asked in debates, they're being asked by people on the streets, they're being asked by activist groups who are filming it. I think you heard from basically every candidate what their view on climate change was, in which you hadn't really had to hear that in previous elections. And I think we're already seeing that for 2016. They're being asked by editorial boards, they're being asked by random citizens. I'm sure they'll eventually be asked in debates as well. So I think it's emerging as an issue that every candidate's going to have to respond on, no matter what.
I don't think you're going to see a nominee that's going to be a denier. I know Trump has basically been in that camp, but come on, Trump. First of all, what's going on? Number one, I don't know what's going on with this. But Trump has said what he said in the past. But he's going to basically he can change his views on this probably like that and explain it away. So I don't take what Trump has said on this seriously yet at all. So take him aside. He's a front runner now, but put him aside. The others that have been just outright deniers, the Ted Cruz's, the Santorums, they're not going to win the nomination. It's probably going to be somebody in that Jeb Bush camp, somewhere around, Kasich or Bush, somebody who has recognized that climate change is a problem. We need to do something about it. Yeah, humans are part of the problem. How much? I don't know. But it's probably going to be somebody in that gray area, in the middle. Nobody likes EPA. Nobody on that side likes EPA. They're not going to say we should do EPA regulations. I don't think anybody likes the UN process either. I'm not 100% sure about that, but they're probably going to use the Paris talks as a reason to talk about that. So it's going to be something squishy.
I think there's going to be a fundamental focus on behalf of the Republicans to pivot and look at climate change through an economic lens. And I think that really redefines the entire debate, right? Because if you have Republicans talking about how EPA regulations harm the economy and Democrats talking about how this is a big urgent problem of, the biggest problem of our time, they're just talking past one another. So in that sense, I could see climate, depending on who the nominee is, having it as an issue that doesn't really move a lot in the debate. From the beginning of the general to election night, I don't think we'll see a lot of evolution or revolution on this matter throughout the election. And secondly, talking about how climate action is a vote winner, and climate denying is a vote loser. I've seen polling along that as well, but I think we need to remember that it's only it's not that big of an issue to most people. Yes, they want something, they want climate action, but it continues to rank low on a list of priorities that voters care about. So, and I think Republicans will see that. So that's not to say that they can ignore the issue altogether, but in the grand scheme of things, when you have the economy and you have foreign policy and you have immigration and of all these things, I think it just doesn't break through to the top tier. And I think that's something that we need to remember as we talk about climate in the broader context.
I think that there is a sort of general move in the public toward acknowledging climate change is real and that it's happening, and that, you know, people, even I talk to people who maybe don't even really follow climate science particularly closely, but they're like, hey, it's been really weird and hot and the weather's been really strange. So people, I think, are starting to sort of understand that on a more like basic level. I still just don't think it's a number one issue for most voters. I mean, I think it's something that sort of comes up in a range of issues, but it's not the number one thing people are voting on. So even if you see polling that says, you know, whatever, a strong majority of people think climate change is happening and caused by human activity, I don't think that's what's driving them to the polls at this point.
I mean, look, younger voters are definitely key. Younger voters, younger generations are just simply thinking differently about this issue, I think, more so than you have the older generations. I think Hispanic voters are important, and they're coming out in larger numbers every single election, and they care about this. Again, you know, Kate and Amy have said, you know, and I'll reiterate too, you know, if you ask somebody standalone by itself, is this an important issue? Yes. On a range of issues, is it near the bottom? Usually still, yes. But, hey, I mean, if there's enough people that care about it, though, younger voters, again, Hispanic voters, others, if this still is something that they think about and that they want to see how the candidates respond to it, could this be one of a couple of issues, let's say, that tip the balance one way or another for this voter and that voter, and then are there enough voters that, you know, where it does tip that balance? Could it make a difference in some states? Maybe.